Our original mission statement, had 3 terms that we've kept with it the whole time. Protection, restoration, and education. Those are the 3 words that have always been involved with our mission statement since the beginning.
We knew we had to get people out here so that they could see it and be able to support it. We knew we wanted to have good trails. Habitat protection was huge, and education was huge because education would help everything else. But the fact that you were getting everyone in the community involved in an environmental activity, that was just kind of how we wanted it to go from the start, and that same vision is carried through.
I think Paul had probably a big part to do with the education part. If you don't know, he is treasurer of the Environmental Education Association of Indiana, and education is a big push of his.
We started a couple education programs, which are still going. Breakfast on the Marsh and Little River Ramblers.
At first I thought, well, it's not really where you want to go if you're managing natural resources, because it can be very expensive, and there are already opportunities out there for people to get that outdoor education. Well, I think that's decreasing. I think there are fewer opportunities to get that outdoor education, especially in the younger ages, because if they've never had that connection when they were young, they will never make that connection.
If you really want to see something funny, see a school bus pull up with like kindergarten kids, and they get off that bus and they're looking around and they're like giddy with excitement and they're jumping up and down. They're so excited. And then when you take them in the barn and you say, pick out a pair of boots, kids, because we're going out into where it's wet. They're like all over it, okay? Getting those boots and they're laughing and chittering. And it's the greatest thing to see and be involved in. And all of our educational programs, we don't charge for any of them.
When you boot small kids up and walk them through the mud, no mud puddles should be wasted, Which may not impart a lot of knowledge, but just to have the kids out, and while they're having fun, they're gaining knowledge of wetlands, so it's pretty cool.
They love pond dipping, finding the little critters, in the water, and they've seen ponds and lakes before, but they've really never studied them. So we give them nets and they get to dip and find all kinds of neat stuff. And now, just this year, they've added microscopes hooked to TVs. And so they can put their find in a little dish and it shows up on a big screen, and they wow, is that what it was? So that's a lot of fun.
Oh, if I could go on an Eagle Marsh field trip again, I would love to do that as a student, because you get to come down this long barn road on your bus. You're looking through the windows and you're looking at great blue herons flying over, or you're looking at frogs hopping and turtles. It's so cool. So you get there, we go through some rules, and then we get to slap on some boots. We have 100 pair of boots for kids to put on, because it gets muddy out in a wetland, and how fun is it to put boots on and jump through the mud and explore and flip over logs and look at bugs, and it's really cool, because at Eagle Marsh we're really working on trying to make sure everyone has the ability to enjoy a Seed to Marsh program. Normally there's a theme for the day, so maybe we're looking at decomposers or pollinators or butterflies, but we're also still making sure that they have a part of like a stewardship aspect.
Some of my favorite moments are working with school groups and volunteer groups that really make a difference in the restoration and in the community. So transplanting and growing these native plants is a really cool thing, because once they get them transplanted and see how many, like we had a group of kids from ICANN come out and transplant 100 milkweed plants, and they got to take some home with them, and they were really proud of the work that they'd done and the difference that they made. And I got to report back to them that those 100 milkweed plants survived and did great, and we got to give them back out to the public at Monarch Fest in September. So just that connection between nature and the community, and it's a special thing.
We have a program for everyone. Our youngest program that we do is our Short Hikes for Short Legs program. It's really cute. It's for ages 3 to 5, but people sometimes bring their newborns, people bring their 8-year-olds. I don't care, the more the merrier. It's so fun. We go out and explore decomposers or things about the sun, or we'll explore macroinvertebrates. We always do pond dipping. That's always so fun. And then we also have our public hikes. So we usually do at least one a month, and that's for friends and families of all ages. And we always have boots available for them, so they don't have to worry about that. And then we also serve our seniors through a Breakfast on the Marsh program. That's been going on for so many years, and it's always the second Thursday of every month. And we always have a nature-oriented speaker. And we also have our Ramblers. Oh, I can't forget about our Ramblers. They're so amazing. If you want to learn something incredible, you go hike with the Ramblers. They're so incredibly smart. And then we also put on a large amount of stewardship programs. And then we have our major events. We've got Earth Day Fort Wayne, which is a really huge Earth Day celebration with lots of different activities. We have our Urban Turtle Festival, and we love the turtles, and so we're really making sure we get people involved in learning about turtles during that. And then we also have our Monarch Festival, and that's really fun too because people get to watch monarchs get released. We learn about their life cycle and explore just the property that is so awesome to find lots of different monarch butterflies and butterflies in general.
I think with the wetland and the marsh, how the life cycle of the whole thing comes together and how the marsh interacts with everything from the invertebrates and how they're the ones that are consuming little things and bigger things are eating them. And then because it's a marsh, how the wetland really interacts with that. And then as the kids start to see that, you can just see the eyes kind of, that experience, I think.
I became interested in conservation as a small child. Our family was blessed to have a cottage on Clear Lake, and across the road from the cottage was a huge woods and a swamp. We were in the woods playing gladiators and discovering everything we could, lifting up rocks, looking into puddles. I started my love of water quality by peering into puddles to see what was squiggling around. My mother took me on my very first wildlife hike in that woods. I went off to college and I stumbled into a Natural Resources 101 class and fell in love and went, hello, this is what you've always loved. Why don't you get your degree in natural resources?
I mean, that's how I got interested in where I ended up as a career is, going to activities and habitats and outdoor settings. I got started as a biologist because I liked being outdoors, and I was like, oh, maybe I can do a career that involves being outdoors. And so that's how I started on my path. And I think, exposing kids to these areas is fantastic.
So many people come out and they have their hand in the wetland restoration. So they come here and they're able to sow seeds, they can collect seeds, plant the plants that grow here, enjoy them, and it's an incredible program. And then the fact that we grow so many plants is we're able to give them out to community members. We don't even have to be out here for programming. Purdue Fort Wayne will bring a Greyhound bus full of students out here to do tons of different things. They'll do small mammal trapping, they'll do tests on the water, they'll check out the fish. They do tons of different projects out there. And then just general hikes and plants. I know St. Francis brings their students out, Ivy Tech. There are even groups, homeschool groups, use Eagle Marsh.
As an education resource, it's convenient. It's a beautiful property, and what I've always been surprised with when I bring my students out here, they just love to come out here for the lab part of their course. It's something they don't normally get to do, and I think they're surprised by what's here because they probably drive by on the interstate and have lived in this community for years and have never been here. They don't know that there are 250 bird species that visit this property. They don't know about, all the animals that use it. And just, raise awareness about conservation issues, which I think enriches them, whether or not they go into it as a career or not.
There are so many kids coming out here, and adults too, that they really haven't had the experience that I had growing up on a farm. You know, they think that food comes from a grocery store, when actually we raised our food. So it makes a difference when people start making that connection with nature.
Everyone has a basic human desire to enjoy nature and to be a part of that. Nature has a healing impact on all of us. It's just that shared connection that is so absolutely wonderful, and you can feel that. We're starting to work with some groups that will bring interpreters to the marsh so that they can reach different communities that may not speak English, or folks that can help us with individuals who may be blind or have very low vision, that they can still come out. We're offering tactile programming so they can feel and touch and see different things.
I would like to think that there's probably been many thousands of students, many from 5 years of age up to teenage, that have been here and had an opportunity to benefit from the educational programming that they do offer here. It's one of the biggest benefits of the whole entire project. It's right here locally in Fort Wayne, but education is where we really need to focus, because the younger generation, they're more in tune with playing on their Xbox and their Nintendo, and get a kid outdoors is kind of something that we take near dear to heart.
I've just been a big admirer of what's being done because of that mission statement that we want to preserve and protect and educate. I just think it just says it all for me.
I think as we add to the education program here at Eagle Marsh, there's going to be interpretive programs expanding and education opportunities. It's going to be a family destination with lots of good biology can be learned out here.
I think we've got a responsibility to have them appreciate and love nature, and at the same time respect it enough that they want to preserve it for future generations.
But how this has grown from what some of us considered a pretty wild idea to the premier environmental education organization in the greater Northeast Indiana area. The thousands of people, and especially kids, who come out here, they get introduced to a natural landscape, to all the organisms, to how the hydrology works, to wetlands. There's really nothing else like it in this region. So to me, that's my greatest pleasure, is seeing that role filled by this organization. And the centerpiece is this big restored wetland.
When you become involved in it, and when you are out here and you're surrounded by nature, it affects you. Your blood pressure goes down, you feel more comfortable, and the more you know about it, the more you want to learn. The payback is the next generation will take care of the natural resources, because you will protect whatever you value. And that's a really, once they make that connection with the natural resources, they will see that those natural resources are protected.
There's so many kids that don't have a chance to walk in the woods, to see large animals, to experience the flight of an eagle, that we want to be able to provide that for them. Expose them to the wonder and beauty of all the different plants and animals that the wetlands entails is just incredible.
Oh yeah, trail guiding's really, really neat. That's where you get to interact with usually grade school kids, high school kids, and you're able to use all that knowledge. And man, when they come out and you can see their eyes open up, and particularly for some of the city kids that have never been out in the wilderness, and they think, wow, are there bears out here? And it's just neat to get them out and show them how nature works.
We did, in 2016, we developed a 10-year site plan for Eagle Marsh here, and that included putting in trails that for accessibility. So we got that started last year with that area. We have a number of other segments we like to put out. And then also to build a wetland education pavilion. I don't know how soon that will come to pass.
I see almost unlimited potential there. It becomes a question of money.
And sometimes it's difficult to fund those and keep those going, but to our credit, to the credit of the board, and Amy, our director, we always make sure that we've got the money for that, we've got the people for that, and we've got good people in those roles that are really good at working with people and explaining those programs.
I would say if there's anything parents can do to start their children to have a love of nature, it's get out into it. You put those little boots on those little feet and get them to hike through, and it's okay. It's okay to get muddy. Guess what? It'll wash off. And see what you can see and pick up what you can pick up and discover the wonders of what you can see, like I did, leaning over a puddle.